Called as the gorilla of photography world, but after a century of dominance, this business crumbled and it was declared bankrupt in 2012. Can you guess which then big giant are we talking about? Guess. Till you guess, I will request all my new viewers to subscribe IP Jagruti so that I get motivated, my team gets motivated to bring more videos related to IP and technologies. So, I hope till now you have got the name. Yes, we are talking about Kodak. With their tagline, "You press the button, we do the rest." George Eastman in 1888 introduced the first simple camera. Eastman's goal was to make the camera as convenient as pencil, and so Eastman set about inventing a ever lighter and easier gear, thereby almost single-handedly creating the field of immature photography. Eastman brought us roll film, movie film, daylight film, the 30 mm format, the Brownie camera, non-inflammable photographic film, and 16 mm and 8 mm movie homes. George Eastman's goal was to make the camera as convenient as pencil, and so Eastman set about inventing ever lighting and easier gear, thereby almost single-handedly creating the field of amateur photography. Following his death in 1932, his company brought us Kodachrome, Ektachrome, Tri-X, 35 mm slide film, color negatives film for print, Instamatic 110 film, the APS format, the carousel projectors, Super 8, the photo CD format, and many more. And all this from one company, Kodak. When George was asked why he chose Kodak as his company name, he said, "I devised the name myself. The letter K had been a favorite with me. It seems a strong, incisive sort of letter. It became a question of trying out a greater number of combination of letters that made words starting and ending with K, and the word Kodak was the result of this." Talking about the market share of Kodak, Kodak controlled over 70% the highly lucrative US film market. Gross margin on the film ran close to 70%, and its success was further underpinned in a massive distribution network and one of the strongest brands in the world. The company completely dominated its industry. This is a history from where Kodak started. In 1962, Kodak employed 75,000 people and earned more than $1 billion in US sales. It had achieved an incredible position over the course of 70 years in an industry that was largely its own creation. Now, this was the high time, the positive sign, or you can say the growth period and the rise of Kodak. But talking about the fall of Kodak, demises of Kodak, given that its core business was selling film, it is not hard to see why the last few decades proved challenging for them. Cameras went digital and then disappeared into cell phone, which we call smartphone now. People went from printing pictures to sharing them online. The company filed for bankruptcy protection in 2012, exited legacy business, and sold off its patents before re-emerging as sharply smaller companies in 2013. Once the most powerful company in the world, today the company has a market capitalization of very less than $1 billion. Now the question is, why this happened with Kodak? There are many explanations, but I will, after analyzing many research, I have pointed out few of the points which I'll be discussing with you. So an easy explanation is myopia. Kodak was so blinded by its success that it completely missed the rise of digital technologies. That doesn't square with the reality. After all, the first prototype of digital camera was created in 1975 by Steve Sesson, an engineer working for Kodak. The camera was as big as toaster, took 20 seconds to take an image, had low quality and required complicated connections to a television to view but it clearly had massive disruptive potential. Another explanation from my side is that Kodak invented the technology but didn't invest in it. Session himself once told the New York Times that management response to his digital camera was, "That's cute, but don't tell anyone about it." And then investing billions in digital camera. So here comes, with this statement, here comes my next explanation, that Kodak mismanaged its investment in digital camera, overshooting the market by trying to match performance of traditional film rather than embrace the simplicity of digital. My next argument or next explanation goes like, because the real disruption occurred when the camera merged with phones and people shifted from printing pictures to posting them on social media and mobile phone apps, and Kodak totally missed that. Now, to explain you more how Kodak have missed the innovation or focusing on the market, I'm giving you a hypothetical example here. Before Mark Zuckerberg wrote a line of Facebook's code, Kodak made a prescient purchase acquiring a photo sharing site called Ophoto in 2001. It was so close. Imagine if Kodak has truly embraced its historical tagline of share memories, share life. Perhaps it could have rebranded Ophoto as Kodak Moments instead of Easy Share Gallery, making it the pioneer of new category called live networking, where people could share pictures, personal updates, and links to news and information. Maybe in 2010, it would have lured a young engineer from Google named Kevin Systrom to create a mobile version of the site, which is called Instagram now. But what happened in real life? Unfortunately, Kodak used Ophoto to try to get more people to print digital images. It sold the site to Shutterfly as a part of its bankruptcy plan for less than $25 million in April 2012. And this is the same month when Facebook plunked down $1 billion to acquire Instagram. Now just imagine what would have happened, because Kodak has a plan but didn't have a vision what Facebook and Instagram had. Otherwise, today Kodak had been ruling the world. Now, what's the story of the patent of Kodak? How patent protected Kodak? In January 2012, Kodak filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, but the company's managers still hope to escape from bankruptcy and have another shot at greatness by selling part of portfolio of patent that expert valued at as high as $4.5 billion. This is why I always emphasize to small businesses or startups that you should be focusing on building a strategically smart IP portfolio. Few months later, those roughly 1,700 patents, together with 655 patent applications, sold for $94 million, less than the licensing fees Kodak has collected in its worst ever year in recent history. What's more, the company licensed its remaining 20,000 patents to a dozen of leading technology companies only for $433 million, severely restricting future earnings from them. But without its anticipated multi-billion-dollar payoff, the company was forced to hand over its iconic photographic film and paper business, as well as potentially lucrative new technologies like digital printing, kiosk, to a spin-off owned by its UK pension fund. In September 2013, Kodak finally limped out of bankruptcy. But talking more about its innovation story, throughout decades of turmoil, Kodak has continued to innovate, spending up to $500 million annually on R&D. The company developed the first megapixel image sensor, which went into Apple's groundbreaking Quick Take digital camera, and it came out with the first camera with OLED screen and built-in Wi-Fi. By 2012, Kodak has accumulated 22,000 patents and other intellectual property rights covering 160 countries. From 2003 to 2011, licensing its IP to other companies had earned Kodak over $3 billion. The sign of the sale looked good. because that time the market of IP was high. As in the same year, Apple, Microsoft, Google invested a lot in buying and licensing patents, and so Kodak patents were valued in billions by different firms. For its patent, Kodak has given the charge. Michael Lasinski firm 284 partners were hired by Kodak in July 2011 to value its patent. Michael's approach was very positive. He said, roll up your sleeves and create a business plan around the IP. But early July 2012, Kodak had lined up around 20 potential bidders for the auction of the patents. The potential bidders, it turned out, had organized into two camps. In one camp, there was Adobe, Apple, Facebook, and Microsoft formed a consortium led by Intellectual Ventures. In other words, with RPX, Mustard, Amazon, Google, HTC, Samsung, and the photo printing website Shutterfly. With the estimate from 284 partners in hand, Kodak began shopping its patent. Just a day before it filed for Chapter 11, it also filed a flurry of lawsuits alleging patent infringement against Apple, Fujifilm, HTC, and Samsung. But the technology companies didn't bite. Instead, Apple swiftly countersued Kodak for infringement. It also tried to halt the sale of 13 Kodak patents that had been filed during the two companies' joint development of the quick take camera, alleging they belonged to Apple and a spin-off company called Flashpoint. And there are n number of interesting stories of patent war because Kodak didn't left any of the opportunity to earn from its patent, either through licensing the technology, to selling the technologies, through infringement or patent litigation suit, and neither the counterparty. So there are many n number of patent war stories with Kodak and against Kodak, with different companies like Apple, Microsoft, IBM, Shutterfly, and number. I cannot mention all the companies also. But I cannot tell you all the stories here. Why? Because we have limited time with this video, and this story today is only of the rise and fall and how the patent have protected Kodak. But if you want me to come up with the patent war story of different companies or Kodak, you can mention in the comment section. We will definitely reply. Thank you so much for watching IP Jagruti. It's our pleasure to come up with more brilliant stories, brilliant content related to technology and IPR. Thank you so much.